Okay, sorry about that. We're now back. I think the quality according to YouTube is supposedly much better, so I have adjusted some of the settings. So thank you for bearing with me. Sorry for the stuff up on the first one. So this is the first live stream that we're doing. So be keen to hear your thoughts on whether you think this is valuable or not. I guess you're probably going to vote by your feet. If you don't think it's valuable, you're probably not going to stick around, which is fair enough. But I would like to know if you're here and following along, leave a chat. There's no super chats or anything. We're not big enough for super chats yet, but we do aim to get there. So, before YouTube rudely interrupted me with some concerns about the quality, yeah, so this is the baby mod frame of Thingiverse. It's a really cool frame. I had it cut in 3mm bottom plate, 2mm top plate. It's ultra lightweight. As I was saying before, in terms of the weight, it's coming in at 209 grams with a 6S 450 milliamp hour battery, and dry weight's 126 grams, and with a 4S 550 we're coming in at 187. Now the other 3.5-inch quads that are on the market, such as the Emax Baby Hawk 2HD and the Gep RC Smart 35, both in analog and digital, they're recommending a 1100 milliamp hour battery, which is kind of weird. It makes it quite heavy, but they're reporting that you're getting 10 minutes flight time. So if I'm going to go and do any long range stuff, I'll certainly, probably pump a big battery on it and see how it goes. But I really just want this to be super nimble, super quick, and to pump around the local areas. So that's my latest build. So to talk you through what's on it, if you've already been here and seen that, we've got the Brother Hobby 1504.5 2950 kV motors. Now, both the Emax and the Gep RC are running 3800 kV motors, which is designed mainly for 4S. I'm going to try and push this down to 6S, so slightly less on the KVs. I've had these motors running 6S before on a 4-inch build, so I know they're capable of it. They stay pretty cool because there's so much space up the top for cooling. These are just excellent motors, super lightweight as well, which does help. We've got the Jehemku GHF 411 all-in-one. It's a 20x20 mount as opposed to the typical 25x25, so it does fit in with the frames a lot better. And you probably noticed that VTX there, that triple stack, the top two, well, that's the Sharkbite TX 5M.1. We're going to crank that up to 500 milliwatts because that's all it can do. A bit disappointing. I've come from DJI where I'm used to, flying around at 1200 milliwatts and just having decent latency and a super high res picture. To Sharkbite, resolution's not there, but the difference is in the latency. So Fat Shark and Sharkbite, from a product perspective, everyone's trying to, and I'm doing this as well, pitching it versus DJI. The thing is, Fat Shark are never going to compete with DJI. The video system is a different kettle of fish. It's kind of built for a different purpose. I always come back to aeroplanes in a sense. I think the DJI system, it's kind of like, your typical commercial airliner, where the Sharkbite system is more like your fighter pilots. And I use that same analogy to really describe your DJI Mavics compared to, the typical FPV drones that we fly. But I think that's quite a realistic way of describing it, and describing the differences between Sharkbite and the DJI FPV system. And the reason for that is the latency. And when you're in a fighter jet, you're not there for comfort, you're there for purpose. When you're in an airliner and you're flying first or business class, and even economy to an extent, although economy is cattle class. It is designed for comfort. It's designed for that whole experience. Whereas Fat Shark is just trying to give you the best picture it possibly can in the lowest latency, and have what they describe as latency as near zero, although it's not quite that. It's really short, and that latency is rock solid. Whereas DJI has that variable latency, and what that entails is, because of that variable latency, it allows you to maintain that solid image, or go a bit blurry because it's restreaming packets. Whereas the Fat Shark system is purely, no, if it didn't catch the packet, tough luck, you get that as interference. Cool. We've got TBS Triumph in the MMCX, and you can see over here that little white thing, that's the Happy Model PPRX from Express LRS. Now, the reason for today's live stream is not actually to go into this build, although the inspiration for what we're doing on the live stream does actually come from this quad. It doesn't come from this one specifically, it comes from the GEP RC Smart 35, which I've ordered in analog because my intention is to whack this same SharkBite module into that. And I've also bought the GEP RC 1404 motors, 2450 kV, in order to stick 6S, because it does have a 35 amp ESC, which is 6S capable, although probably going to end up popping that sooner or later. So what we're actually going to be doing today is we're going to be taking my 3-inch Baby Shark Tooth build, and I've had a frame for a while that I've been toying with using, and I haven't really, really decided what to put it on. So this is the GEP RC. It is the Smart HD. It's the GEP PT HD. It's marketed at the moment as the Smart HD, but what it is, it's a 2.5-inch frame that's designed for HD with the Caddx Vista. And 2 battery straps, that's cool, and some FR Sky stuff. What we're actually going to be doing, this is the purpose of the live stream, is we're going to be doing a transplant. So we're going to take the Shark Tooth Baby Tooth, and we're going to build the GEP RC Smart, or it's the Phantom HD. We're going to build the GEP RC Phantom HD with SharkBite from this quad. Now, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. So let me know what you think, because I'm toying up with the idea of what motors do I go with. I do have a set of GEP RC 1206 7500 kV. They're probably going to be better suited for 3S. And the interesting thing is that the build on the GEP RC website for this comes with 5000 kV motors. They're expecting 3 to 4S. So I'm thinking, running 3S on this with the 7500 kVs. I've also got the FPV Cycle, although these are a little bit too short for this build. So I probably can't use those, but the 1303 5000 kVs. Well, I'm thinking we just keep the RC Power 6000 kV 1202 plus. Now I have been flying this around, and it seems a bit underpowered, so I'm probably I'm gonna go with the GEP RC motors, keep it all GEP RC, but we're going to deconstruct SharkBite, pop that onto this quad. So I think, the first thing is, let's crack open the hardware and get the motors mounted. So 1, 2, 3. I've got that 4th motor somewhere. My desk is messy. I hope I've got that 4th motor. Ah, yes, over here. So we've got our 4 motors. And let's crack open our hardware. It's going to make a mess of everything. Now the interesting thing is they give you stacked screws that are quite big, and I think that they're obviously designed that you will go ahead and pop a Cadex Vista in it. But do we get motor mounts? We don't. We don't get the bolts for the motors. That's okay. We've got some titanium hardware that we'll use instead. We've got this M2 how's that? We've got M2 5mm. I think that should be okay. So let's do a bit of a test fit. That's the wrong knob. Got to get the right knob for the screwdriver. That's the right knob. How are we going for thickness? Ooh, yeah, that's good. Kind of lucky that's quite a thick. Cool. So we'll go with these. These titanium bolts are pretty cool as well. Now, I have been only using 2 bolts on each of my motor mounts. So we're going to maintain that same philosophy for 2 reasons. One, it saves weight, but I'm not necessarily concerned about saving weight here because it's going to be super light and it's titanium, so they weigh practically nothing. But let's just So we've got 2 in, 2 more to go. This could be a relatively quick build actually, because I mean, the thing that normally takes the longest with builds is doing all the soldering and getting all that done. But because we're just doing a transplant where we're moving everything across, it's going to be pretty straightforward actually. You're not going to have to, well, we will have to do some soldering. We're going to have to obviously solder the motors up and so forth. But that'll be okay. Now, the other thing that we're going to do is probably we're not going to use these long, we're not going to use those stack screws. I think there's 2 sets. Yeah, there's 2 sets of stack screws. Okay, so there's that, and then there's that. That's actually, this one here is a nylon stack screw, and my assumption is going to be that's actually designed so you can mount the Vista to the top plate, which is actually how the top plate is designed on this one. So just grab one more, pop these away. Apart from the really bad video quality, because I'm using some 720 HP webcams, what do you think about the format and the setup? Do you mind the talking head in one side and the screen on the other? I thought it was just something I whacked together quite quickly and last minute. Yeah, so we won't use these stack screws. That's cool. Alrighty. I'm gonna have to take the rubber band off. I'll leave the props and the motors on this build. There's no point removing them. It just makes it easier when I want to reuse that build. So I'm going to crank the soldering iron, which is my TS100. It's a solid soldering iron. And we're going to have to cut. You know, it's really a tidy build. So I've got another JHEMCO all-in-one. It's the something Pro. I can't remember. That's the flight controller. Then we've got the SharkBite. It's a pretty solid build. We're just going to keep the layout there. You know, it's a good layout, nice and tidy. We are going to have to sort out the camera. I butchered a B-Brain V2 canopy. You won't be able to really see the butchering, but I had to chop off the protectors that go on the front, and then basically carve out that to get the thing in. Now, when it comes to soldering, I have and use Blu-Tack. So Blu-Tack, just pop that on the desk, then pop your quad on it, because Blu-Tack keeps that stable. Sorry, I'm gonna end up doing these closer to me, not to you. Just so I can see what I'm doing. If you happen to be popping along, just leave a comment in the chat. Let me know what you think. Please subscribe to the channel. There is the June subscriber giveaway. And that's a pretty cool giveaway. It's currently on back order, but you're going to have a choice of the Joshua Bardwell QAV 5-inch frame by Lumineer. That's a pretty cool frame. And you know, JB's going through his perfect build at the moment, so hopefully you'll be able to get your parts for that. There's also Impulse RC are releasing 5-inch arms for the Micro Apex. I've been a big fan of the Micro Apex previously. I had a 6S version of that running. It was X-Nova 1804 motors. 20. Got 3 of them here because I broke one. It's running, yeah. So that ran the X-Nova 1804 2400 kV motors. These are pretty solid motors from X-Nova, and that really did the job. So they're really good. So the T1804, that had that. I sold that one. That was 262 grams all up weight, including a 6S 450 milliamp hour battery. So I was trying to get sub 250 with the Micro Apex. The challenge with that is the way the frame is designed is you've got 2 bottom plates which sandwich together, so they cover about 2/3 of the total size of the bottom plate. Then you've got pretty thick arms. The steel hardware that comes on it is pretty hefty as well. So that's all the motors desoldered. So I actually swapped it out for titanium hardware, which is why I've got all of this titanium stuff. Now you can notice all of this shit on the desk. That was from my crash in the wet grass this morning. Okay, so moving on to the next stage of disassembly, we're going to take the stack screws out of this, which will free up pretty much the whole build, and prepare it for the transplant. I'm just going to grab some light music in the background. Oh, that one's free. So I'm from Sydney, Australia, and apart from CASA, not really having any idea about FPV in any way, shape, or form, which makes our regulations quite interesting. Okay, so shark bites free. Let's just free up our flight controller. So apart from CASA having no idea about FPV, I'm from Sydney, Australia, and we are having our coldest weather on record. Um, it's like 9 degrees today. We got down to, I think, a low of 7 where I am in Sydney. And, there we go. If we were building a car, this would be like, they call it the marriage. When you put the engine in a car, it's called a marriage. So we've technically divorced our quad. Just going to pop this to the side. It's not going to go as straight. It's probably going to be used on many, many other builds. I'm just going to sort out this zip tie because we'll use that elsewhere. Okay, so I need to just sort that out to be able to reposition everything. Don't know what we're going to do with that. And here's the fun part. So after I get this up and running, one of the key things I'm going to actually have to do is focus the camera. Now that's not healthy, so just be careful doing that. I've wedged that in there. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to cleaning cloth. Let's make sure that's spotless. It does get a bit of dirt not being tied on correctly in there. Awesome. Now, I'll just show you something quickly about the lens. You can see it there. That red glass that you can see is an IR filter. One of the things that makes the SharkBite cameras absolutely horrible is the stock Runcam lens is a plastic, which doesn't help. This is a Cadex Baby Ratel lens, and it has an IR filter, and it is a top lens, so it does make the Runcam a hell of a lot better. Cool. So now we've got that. We're going to be using different antennas on that. So we'll just pop that antenna off for a moment, set that aside, and time to go into our stack screws. So stack screws on this, we've got some short ones that are metal. I'm going to be using those as opposed to the long nylon ones. Now this does have a 16 by 16 mount, which is quite cool. And we've also got a whole bunch of nylon nuts. So I'm going to use these nuts at the bottom. One, two, three. Can't find that fourth one. Where is it? They're the ones I pulled off the other build. Anyway, we'll sort that out in a minute, but I think that might be it. Yep. Nope, that's not it. anyway, we'll come back to that. It's a bit of a shame. So pop that through. And pop our nylon nut on it. Oh, that's tight. Suppose you want that to be a bit tight. So let's So these stack screws are obviously not going anywhere with these nylon nuts. Can't believe I've lost it. Did I drop it? Probably. Anyway. Probably find it, dig it up. It's somewhere in this trash. Bugging me now. Anyway, on to the next one. What do you make of the chip shortage? That question hasn't come from anywhere. It's kind of me thinking about things to talk to you about as opposed to just being silent and building. But I'd be interested to know what you think of the chip shortage, and I'm surprised it's taken this long to hit the FPV market. Now, the reason why I say that is if I think about what's happened over the last 5 years, you would have noticed this in the first sort of Bitcoin bull run around 2017, 2018, thereabouts. One of the things that happened was the GPU shortage, because everyone was using GPUs to mine cryptocurrency. It was kind of, ASICs were a thing, or starting to become a thing. Ethereum was still, at that point, you could still mine Ethereum using GPUs. So it's just ultra hard to get the GPU. Might just have to use. I mean, how are they in height? Close enough. It's not going to be perfect, unfortunately. Damn, I should have paid more attention to that. But yeah, I do find it interesting that there is a chip shortage and that's affecting all kinds of electronics manufacturing. The weird thing is that you still have products. Oh, I think that's it. Oh, anyway, you still have products like iPhones and so forth that are just flying off the shelves. Apparently, if you ask Apple from their recent developer conference, the iPad is... Now, here's going to be an interesting one because I'm going to have to redo... Actually, we are going to have to do some soldering. Because we're going to pop... We're going to pop the... a different... I'm going to pop a different battery motor wire on it because A, we're going to get some more length, But also B, what we're going to do is we're not going to bottom mount the battery, we're going to top mount it. Now I've butchered that. Where's my solder wick? Sort of running low on solder wick. I've only got this really thin one. But it'll be enough to clean things up. Okay, so that one's out. And what we might do is top mount this one. And before we do that, we're just going to feed that some more. I find when it comes to soldering, two different types of solder don't bond as well together. So just gonna might go back on the bottom just because of the stuff that's there actually. I'm getting greedy there. Cool, there we go. Be interested to know, apart from FPV, what else do you watch on YouTube? Because we all obviously come to YouTube for FPV. So I'd be keen to know what you watch. So you might need to use some longer stack screws on this because there's now no room to mount the Sharkwhite TX. So off with these. Now I'm going to go into my bag of tricks and see what else I've got. That's too big. Ooh, that could be okay. If not, we'll commandeer the stack screws from have to commandeer the stack screws from the previous build, which were slightly too long. Thank you for the like. Really appreciate whoever it was that liked. I don't get to see that. If you could drop a comment, just I remember the good old days when maybe it wasn't your good old days, depending on how old you are, when you're on MSN Messenger and you used to go, "Hey ASL," meaning age, sex, location. I used to have my brother's dyslexic, my father's dyslexic, and I dare say I'm probably, a tad dyslexic as well. I used to get confused and write, 13, 14, whatever I was, F, when I'm actually a bloke, ultimate catfish. F Sydney, not dawning, and didn't really dawn on me, F meaning female. I just go, oh yeah, F. Yeah, so these stack screws are the right length. I always thought that the whole point I put F there was for from. 14 from Sydney. Incorrect. It's meant to go 14, 15. M Sydney. Do you still have access to your original Hotmail or Yahoo email address? And what was it, if you remember it? My original one was porkchop33. So back in the good old days. On other topics, I'd actually be keen to understand what you're flying at the moment. What's your go-to FPV aircraft or go-to aircraft when you go for a fly? Is it a quadcopter? Is it a wing? What is it that you're flying? What size is it? And so is it a whoop? 65, 75, 85, 95 millimeter whoops? Who would have thought that we're now talking 95 millimeter whoops? And they're obviously pushers designed for small scale cinematography, but they've all stemmed from Jesse Perkins' tiny whoop with the blade inductrix. They've just gotten bigger. But what are you flying? Is it a 2-inch? Is it 2.5 inch? Because this one here is a 2.5 inch build. And I'll explain why we're doing a 2.5 inch build, because that's a 3.5 inch. And what I tend to like about, let's call it the 1/2 inch increments, is I think 3-inch, for the typical weight of a 3-inch quad, find the 3-inch props to be too small. There we go, Wellerman. Nope. Oh, yep. So this is Streambeats. I'm streaming from Spotify, so I don't know if I'm going to get a copyright strike or not, but whatever. Harris Heller does have Streambeats as no copyright, so... Someday the Wellerman comes in and run. Before the boat had hit the water, the whale's tail came up and caught her. Lance in the side, harpooned and fought her when she died below. Soon may the Wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the time is done, we'll take our leave and go. No line was cut, no whale was freed. The captain's mind was not hungry, but he belonged to the whaleman's creed. She took that ship in tow. Soon may the Wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the time is done, we'll take our leave and go. For 40 days or even more, the line went slack and tight once more. Our boats were lost, there were only 4, and still that whale did go. Soon may the Wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the time is done, we'll take our leave and go. As far as I've heard, the fight's still on, the line's not cut and the whale's not gone. The Wellerman makes his regular call to recruit the captain, crew and all. Soon may the Wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. Now, I've got to make a decision around what antenna am I going to use. Quite an interesting one. So, what do we got? We've got a few different antenna mounts. Oh, they've come in red. Good day. What is the frame? Ah, thanks, Mario Miamo. We're going to guess you're potentially Italian. The frame is the Gepard C. I'll show you. It's the Gepard C PTHD, which is the Platinum HD, Phantom HD, Gepard C Phantom HD, 2.5 inch. Sorry, that's pretty shitty quality. It's the webcam. 2.5 inch frame, all up 20 grams. So I've had the frame for a while, and just haven't really decided what build I was going to pop it on up until I bought the Gepard C Smart 35. Yeah, it is a cool frame. So if you check out sub 250 FPV, sub 250 G FPV or sub 250 FPV, the icon looks like a golden. Thank you, Mario. I really appreciate the sub. If you check out his build, he actually uses the top plate, this very top plate, in all of his custom 3.5 inch frames. So it is, you know, quite a cool frame. Now I'll be back in a second because I got my batteries on charge, and they're beeping to say that they're done. So antennas, this is gonna, we've got also this foam for the legs. What antennas? Now, because I've been flying a lot of DJI, I don't actually have that many antennas that are right-hand circular polarized that I can use for the build. So this is going to be interesting. Ones that I do have. Oh, yep, here we go. Ah, yes, we've got one. Kind of lucky. One Rush Cherry Right-hand circular polarized UFL antenna. The best part is it's actually got a locking mechanism on that as well. So maybe we can get away with not having to use the zip tie. I find that to be quite ugly. Just pop this off. Boom. Oh, now, actually, I probably needed to insert the frame mount before I popped that on. Oh, that's your... Oof. Oh, that's going to be a tight fit. That's your Crossfire antenna mount, but I think we can... Let's actually get this rear standoff mount. Should have thought about that first. We might be rethinking the capacitor. I think we are going to be rethinking that capacitor. It's a pain in the ass. Anyway, well, time to rethink that capacitor. Look. So for me personally, I'm a pretty average pilot, but I do enjoy this whole process of building. For me, I think this is I loved Lego when I was a kid. Technically, I'm just a big kid, but anyway. Loved Lego, and for me, this is Lego with electronics. So let's just pop off that. Now, there's two ways we can do this: the proper way or the dodgy way. Oh, let's do it the proper way, because it's going to. Actually, we're not doing it the proper way, we're doing it the half proper way. Because I remember, hey, I'm almost out of solder wick. Well, I'm out of the full-size solder wick. So the half dodgy. And I remember when I built this, I didn't think I'd change the capacitor. But obviously now I'm going to have to. What I did was I inserted the capacitor through the frame, like you're meant to. That's not through the frame, through the board, like you're actually meant to. So, because we're bottom mounting battery leads, I think we're going to be able to get away with popping the capacitor on the top. Cool. So problem fixed. Then obviously the blue tack you're just going to need to clean it up. All right. Let's go back to our frame. Let's pop that. Oh, it's already there. Stand off in. Now I'm using Express LRS, so okay. How does this? How am I meant? Oh, I think we just meant to goes through the top plate, doesn't it? This is the challenge. Yep, that's right. It goes through the top plate. So luckily, it is designed for a rush ferry. I just butchered that for no reason, probably. Right. You know what I'm going to need to do? I'm going to need to go to the GEPRC website and I'm going to have to check out the photo. I'll link the frame for you. It's not there anymore. 2.5 inch. Here's the link to the frame. That's not an affiliate link. I don't have an affiliate with GEPRC. Oh yeah, they want that red thing up the top. Okay. Yeah, that's right. We've got to put our bolts back on. I'm going to make it digital. I'm actually going to be running SharkBite on a Memorio, which is what that is. That's the SharkBite TX5S.1. Whereabouts are you from, Memorio, and what are you flying at the moment? Shit, I just lost one of those. You're from Singapore. Very nice. I've been to Singapore once. I was only there for 24 hours. Didn't get to see much of it. Do you get to fly much in Singapore? And if you do, what's your go-to rig? Keep an eye on it. Never tighten stuff down. Oh, so you have to register. So fortunately, well, in Australia we don't have to register yet, but it's going to come into effect in the next few years. It's not going to stop people, but to that extent, I do know Singapore as a country tends to be more compliant to the law. You know, you guys have a really good government, great country from what I guess someone like myself could potentially observe from, you know, my spot in the little world. That's gonna do it. Do you guys does the Singapore police enforce the 250-gram rule? Or is it, because like we're meant to have CASA enforcing it, but you hardly see our Civil Aviation Safety Authority out enforcing it. They just don't have the manpower to do that, which would be interesting if they decided to. But they mainly go after people where it's reported that there's unsafe drone operations, usually just people being dicks. So that's going to go like that. Awesome. Actually, I might... Well, number one, they'll bring a weight scale, and wow. Wow. That's nuts. But I guess if I look at, let's just do a Google, right? Population of Singapore. You know, there's 5 million people in Singapore, and like the geographic space of Singapore isn't that large. You know, Singapore is 728 kilometers square. So how large is Sydney? So Sydney, for example, is 5 million people. 5 million people as well. We're 5.3 million. Singapore is 5.7. But Singapore is 728 square kilometers. The area of Sydney is 12,368 square kilometers. So obviously, very, very big difference. Johnny Five, welcome to the party, my man. I've really been appreciating the love you've been giving me on the Facebook groups, Johnny Five. Welcome to the party. I'm here trying to figure out a shark bite build. So what I've done just to get you up to speed is I've taken my Shark Tooth TP3 and I'm transplanting it across to the Gap RC Phantom HD frame. Layman Gaming. Now, you enjoy Layman Gaming. Haven't heard of them, but I'll check it out. And Archie Luxury. Watch YouTuber in Brizzy. Nice. I'll check them out. I watched a good portion of your live stream before I had to go shopping today, John. Very interesting comments around the chip shortage. My two, Bob, in case you haven't already heard, is I think it's, you know, it's kind of destiny that there was going to be a chip shortage, on the basis that if you look at the GPU shortage for cryptocurrency mining during the last boom, for me that kind of is the was probably the leading indicator that it was going to go to poo for everyone else. Because I think, at the moment you've seen the struggles of Nvidia and AMD for their GPUs and I'm sure you probably watch Linus Tech Tips. If you just see the battle he's been having trying to get GPUs into gamers' hands. So yeah. Yeah, a 20 by 20 single layer would be awesome for races. I know I take it you're probably going to put that on your Freedom spec. Your Freedom spec racer. It's now time to solder up the motors. It makes sense. Like, I think Sharkbite on a racing frame changes the game. Not necessarily, obviously for the racers yourselves. Because you've got that better clarity, but from a spectator point of view as well, my view is something like Sharkbite is really going to help. The spectators understand the pilot's view. Because when I watch racing videos and it's in analog, it's just horrible, and I can't even see what they're doing. And I'm surprised the racers themselves even know. To the point where I think, I've heard someone like Vanover is pretty much racing off pure stick feel by the time you get the amount of pilots in the air. You've had a fun time racing DJI against everyone. So I've seen a few of your videos on that. I also saw on your live stream you've got your beard tamed. Man, that beard of yours, John, was getting pretty ragged for a bit there. So I'm glad it's been tamed. Um, so I'm just soldering the motor wires on. These motors are pretty janky. I'm looking at them and there's been changed motor wires and stuff. What's your 9 to 5, John? Australia's been interesting around the pandemic, because all the different, like, being a Commonwealth, our federal government typically runs everything, but all the states decided that for once they wanted to be independent and run their own show. It's all politicking because our states have their own elections and stuff. But anyway, but our Victoria or Melbourne, they've just been in and out of lockdown to the point where that city is on the point of breakage, and we don't have the whole culture that America does about freedom. If you listen to Jim Jeffries, he loves talking about the differences between Australia and US. So clinical workflow optimization and analytics. This sounds pretty intense. Pretty intense. I take it probably working in and around the medical industry and hospitals and stuff. And I mean, healthcare in America is very different to Australia. We sort of sit there and think about how bad our healthcare system is, but then, you know, when you hear about the American one, you sort of go, well, you know, maybe we haven't got it that bad after all. You notice the motors are kind of janky at the moment. Motor wires. I'm going to tidy them up. I'll be untying. I'll be undoing the motor bolts and then twisting them around to make them all nice and neat and tidy in a few moments. How long have we been going? No idea. How have you been finding the live streams, John? Have you noticed an uptick? 66 minutes, decent stint. Can't believe I've been talking for this long. Though I work in sales, so I pretty much talk the whole day. Oh, you can retract messages. That's pretty handy. So how have you been finding your live streams, John? Have you? I mean, it's something, I guess, like starting a channel. You got to start small and grow the live stream audience. Got to start somewhere. What was your, and not only how have you been finding the live streams, but what was your motivation for getting in front of the camera and talking about FPV? And what's 5 to 1,000 views per stream? That's good numbers. And obviously with you, you're about 6,000 subs now, so you're definitely monetized. Has that been helping grow the channel in terms of getting, I guess, YouTube algorithm hacking per se? I mean, we don't necessarily want to give away all the secrets, right? We'll just pop our ELRS receiver on top. I'll put it on like that. That'll do for now. Keep it there. All right, let's get this top. Yeah, I've noticed that around a few different channels that I've seen coming in. Like Chris Rosser, for example. Now his content depends on who you are, and I think it's in his content can either be something you really just sit there and are engaged with. But I sort of saw a few of his videos when he was at 200 subs and then 500, and then once he sort of hit that 1,000, same with Wes Vardy. Once he hit that 1,000, that trajectory then happens pretty quickly. But I've enjoyed sort of following you and the growth you've been having as well. That's been interesting to sort of watch. So I need to set out to the front, one for the back. Theoretically, that should leave 2. Okay, I'm gonna need to go to my little tray of spares. Got this little tray of spare bolts that I use. I've got bigger trays with spare bolts in all over the shop though. So yeah, the thing I find interesting is you've got this really cool night spot. So I'm surprised you're able to get out at night. That's just a touch too long. Okay, not my typical music. It's all right. Sounds Japanese. Okay, so in order to mount that, I've just had to try to batch record. So what I've done, John, is I saw this might help you. I'll just flick this on. Here's my setup. I saw a video from Think Media, pretty dodgy actually, from Think Media about the sort of one YouTube stand, and basically what I've got here, I mean this is absolutely horrible viewing. What I've got here is a C stand. I've got a light that goes under my face. So my last video was with this setup. The light under my face, and then I've got my Sony ZV-1, and then I've got mad huge softbox, which fills the light in the top of the room. I found that the lighting on my last upload was a lot more nicer for the overall audience than what it has been previously. There we go. A grade filmography right there with that. Well, we're definitely talking live, right? We're not beating around the bush and saying we're not live and doing stuff. Now I've just botched my little camera setup anyway. Yeah, it's been good. It's helped get things quickly to, quicker, because it's right next to my computer as well. So in terms of being able to do my talking head stuff, and you use the whole green screen setup, like you go to the nth degree, which is really, really cool. How much time do you plan on working out what your background is going to be? Because you've got some pretty nice backgrounds and stuff. Like you certainly go to a lot of effort. I'm getting this upside down, probably. But what I've found is that just makes it really quick. Just film a talking head, because it's turn on the camera, face it, press record, and get going. Man. This is just finicky. Yeah, I've tried writing. I find, like, I've bought the whole, this is annoying. I bought the whole teleprompter stuff. Like, I bought off Amazon, and I think I got these around the wrong way. No, I think writing stuff is the hardest thing, because I can't write scripts for rubbish. I find I'm more better off the cuff. Have I got this? Do I just have this upside down? As they say on Think Media, you just gotta hit record. You just gotta press record. Sorry, I'm trying to think here because. Sorry, bag of tricks time. Out comes the trusty Dremel. This is just not going in. I'm gonna Dremel it off. If I swear I won't ever get monetized. Ugh. Feel sorry for Bot Grinder. The amount he swears, he probably gets demonetized all the time. Nah, no mask. Wear enough masks for COVID. Oh, there we go. We're in. Well, fair enough. I mean, each to their own, right? Although, the amount Gary V swears, do you reckon YouTube have demonetized him, or did they not want to have that fight with Gary V? Gary Vaynerchuk. Now, where did that bolt go? I was watching Bardwell's one of Bardwell's live streams recently, and I didn't realize he brought up the topic of Nurk's Flight of the Year, where he used a copyright song and was demonetized for it. I was like, ouch, that's painful. 2 million views or whatever it was. I feel sorry for Nurk for that, because like he's a good bloke. Or at least, you know, what I can see from my spectator view. Okay. Here we go, moment of truth. Let's pop this rear screw on. Let's do the front two first. Let's. Oh man. These small tolerances on these things. Let's just screw that in and hopefully. What are you doing? Go the towers. Yes. Sorry, family interruption. Doesn't even look like it's the right size. Getting somewhere. I mean, as much as TPU camera mounts suck, they do have a place. Hello, Audrillist. The motors are the GEP RC. GEP RC GR1206 7500 kV. kV motors. Time to put the back one on. Yeah, meanwhile, coughing everywhere after just going rogue. With the Dremel. I don't know what that on the side is. Potentially. Oh, I know what that's for. It's for the motor wire. Oh well. 2S, I think it could definitely run 2S. It might feel a bit underpowered on my feeling is I think on 2S it might feel a bit underpowered. So I'm actually probably going to be running it on 3S. Huge long. Let's do this. Oh shit, I didn't put the capacitor on. Need to do that. Need to do the capacitor. 1 second. It's having so much fun. Forgot to do the capacitor. So I mean, that's tiny. Great. All this hard work of getting that to fit in. I will fly it onto us and see how that goes, but the intention is to go 3S. Right, after I did all that hard work of wedging that in. This is my usual process of building stuff, is just build it, mess it up, and then go, oh shit, have to fix it. So capacitor. Tadu R-Line 552S. Interesting battery. Yeah, that sounds like, I don't even think, oh, like, it's, that's, sorry, that capacitor right there is so jank. The cap's too big, but I don't have anything smaller. Yeah. So, what made you want to choose that particular battery? Apart from that, they're awesome, because obviously being in Australia, batteries are bloody hard to get because dangerous goods and stuff. Yeah, wires and glue it to the top plate. Good idea. I didn't think of that. I didn't actually think that's the bloody smart idea. If only there wasn't so much lag in the stream, you could have told me that a few moments ago. All right, now we've got to try and wedge this back together. Oh. And now we'll put the stuff back on. Yeah, electronic Lego. I'm not going to bother going with the 4. I don't think 2 nylon screws are going. That aren't even on properly. Take a little Express LRS receiver in. I'm loving Express LRS at the moment. Have a Tiny Hawk Freestyle 2. That's a cool little 2.5-inch quad. Tried out GMB 450 and 520. Too much sag on punch outs. Yeah, the off throttle maneuvers, the carry is an interesting one. What Do you know what motors are on the Tiny Hawk 2 Freestyle? That's a tight fit. Because I think potentially on the Tiny Hawk 2 Freestyle, I think I take it you've probably converted your Tiny Hawk 2 Freestyle to an XT30 battery plug, if you're running those kind of batteries. Yeah, 1103 7000. Yeah, if you went 3S on that, I don't think you can because the board will fry. Yeah, the thing that shits me about Emacs is that they make a lot of great products, but traditionally, and I do say traditionally, they come up with their own proprietary mounts, like the Tiny Hawk 2 and Tiny Hawk. Great quad, like absolute great quad, but specific board that you can't swap out for anything. Yeah, probably a business decision behind that. But on the same token, pain in le butt. Cool. So that's there. Now, I'm not usually a fan of zip ties, but we're going to do some zip ties. What do you mean, what the F? Yeah, converting your Tiny Hawk 2 Freestyle to an XT30 is a good idea. What do you mean, what the F? Is this jank? Oof. Oh yeah, that's the reason why there's 5 amp ESCs is because it's taking the same board that they use on the Tiny Hawk 2, which can be flown on 1S, and giving you 2S. So we're close. Kind of cute. All right, now what we need to do is just tweak the motor wires, length the motor wires. I'm just going to do that by taking off the motors, twisting them around a few times. And speaking of Emacs, I have Mr. I have Nick Burns's favorite, got a roll of Nick Burns's favorite Emacs tape. So I'm going to be using that. And twist the motors. Right. Got the Emax tape. I'm going to fix this motor wire. That looks pretty schmick. Right, time to do the others. Because the thing about Emax boards on the Tiny Hawk series is, and the other thing about Emax is their frame spares are bloody expensive. Like, you can't, it's not cost effective to go and buy a frame for the Baby Hawk 2 HD. It's just not. It's 100 Australian dollars. The base plate is $40. 40 Australian. It's nuts. And I disagree with, like, from a business perspective of, they don't want people to go and just buy the frame. They want people to buy the quad. Like, I get that. Like, that makes sense. But, you know, if you own that product and it breaks and you snap the frame, it's a lot of money to go and replace it. You're going to go build one? Go for it. Hit me up on Instagram and send me a photo. It'd be cool to see. So I'm at... my Instagram is everything micro FPV. Send me that on Instagram. I'd be keen to like share some photos of your build on my gram. It's the same in Australia. I mean, they are everywhere. They're trying to be, you know, they're trying to create a consumer-based product, like not a hobby product. And I take my hat off to them because the amount of people that come into the hobby through the, you know, the Emax Ready to Fly kit, and the same at the and the same. Oh, that might be a bit too tight on that one. Anyway. And the same with the Beta FPV Ready to Fly kits. Cheers, mate. I really appreciate it. I'll give you a follow back shortly after the live stream. If you haven't subbed, please sub. There's a monthly subscriber giveaway. This month we're giving away the JB. We're giving away the JB Edition QAV frame. Now, even if you don't receive it because it's on back order, I'll still be ordering you one if you are the winner. So then whenever they're back in stock, you'll get one. The alternative to that is you can choose, if they have been released by that point in time, a 5-inch micro Apex from Impulse RC. Impulse RC are Australian, so oh, thanks, Audrist. You are a champion. If I could give out like 10 points to you, if this was like Harry Potter, I would be giving 100 points to your chosen house. That one's knackered. Oh, it's a bit too tight. Laser, Trump 2024. Mate, I'm in Australia. Don't care about Trump. The problem with Trump in 2024, I mean, I don't want to get political, is you're not going to have the social media companies allowing it. That's their card. That motorway is not the cleanest, but anyway. Let's get the battery pad on there. Oof. Yeah, where does that go? No, yeah. Tidy up this last motor wire. Booyah! We're done. And we're going to have to do Betaplite setup. Eek. Sorry about that. I'm just messing about with the display capture because it's now time for the beta flight setup. But before we do, let's just... Where's my smoke duster? Smoke stopper. Smoke stopper. Smoke and a pancake. It's the... No smoke! Yes, no smoke! Alrighty, that's positive news. Alright. So, let's head over to... I can't see anything you guys are doing. So we're going to head over to beta flight. I'm going to plug this in. Motors. So this battery here is a 3S850. Suppose I could pop, like that could go on it. Look at that. Might have to reposition. Anyway. I've got 3S550s. Props are definitely off. Motors are spinning. Alright, we've got some bit of paper. Let's see. Oh, we're going prop south on this one. Motor number 2. No, that needs to change. Motor number 4 needs to change. Motor number 1 needs to change. Oh, could we just switch it to props in and we're good to go? Maybe. Okay, so let's go props in. And does props in mean... Well, let's test. Motor 1. Yeah. Right, so 2, correct direction. 4, correct direction. Oh yeah. Number 1, correct direction. Number 3, correct direction. Alrighty. That is awesome. So, we've got some Emax A-Bahn Scimitar 2.5mm properoonies. Properoonies. So, props in. Prop 1. Got other props. These are a bit chopped actually. Anyway. The properoonies are on. The 2.5 meter build. Now we just need some... I don't have the ones for this. Where's my bag of bolts? There's a bag of bolts here. Now, I'm going to go get some other... I'm going to go get some other 2.5-inch props. Bear with me a moment. Okay, sorry for the momentary delay. So I've got. Oh yes, thank you, Odros. I've got Emax A-band scimitars, or I've got the Beta FPV Gem Fam 2540 3-blade props. These are like the Gem Fam flash durables. I think I've got HQ. I've got the HQ props. I need to get some HQ 2.5 to go with them. Although in saying that, I could probably get the scimitars for the 3.5 inch. Okay, let's see. Is it 8mm? I've got. Let's just see how we are like. Yeah, that's going to be too long. 8's too long. Seven mil probably would be the right length. Just don't have any anymore. Okay, I think we need to go into the box of tricks again. Let's see what we've got. Probably unplug it from paper, actually. Oh yeah. Okay, so we got a bag of prop nuts. Hey, if you've stuck around for this long, you are a champ, and I love you. Like you've made my night because it's 10 to midnight in Australia, and yep, I think we're in. It's 10 to midnight. I'm doing this build because this long weekend I'm going to. I call them the in-laws. I'm going to my girlfriend's family's house in Tamworth, which is a 5-hour drive from Sydney. It's in country New South Wales, and it's going to be bloody cold. So that's one thing. But they live on a couple of acres. Yeah, so they live on a couple of acres. I think and there's a lot of trees and stuff, but it's a really good area to fly around. It's just banging around the homestead. You can fly, and I have flown my 5-inch around it before, but like you're not making it easy on yourself. Let's just say that if it's better. It's the property itself is more suited for your micros. So I'm going to be taking the 3.5-inch build. That's going to be specifically fly around the property, as with this little 2.5-incher. Now, the reason why I wanted to build the 2.5-incher on Sharkbite is in Australia, not only do we have the ridiculous sub 250 laws, they're not enforced around registration. Registration's coming, but to just be able to go to, there's a whole bunch of little parks everywhere. So it's easier to find a little park or a small park to go and rip than it is to find, you know, a bando, because property prices in Sydney are ridiculous. And I'm not in the inner city. I'm in the outer metro in the burbs. But fucking that, I'm gonna thread that through. Point that I'm trying to make is there's not a lot of spots to get out and fly a 5-inch and bash around like you see all the guys do on the YouTubes. I'm really struggling to get this. Yeah, I think that screw bit has had it because it's turning inside. Yeah, so we don't have a lot of those. So, but there's a whole bunch of parks everywhere. Like, we love a park. So there's play equipment, open parks, and just being able to pull over, pull out, you know, your goggles and rip. You know, even if it's just for 10, 15 minutes, couple of packs, just being able to rip in a small park and not really disturb anyone or have these huge loud noises of your 5-inch screaming around, or even just ripping around my street or the park at the end of my street. A lot easier to grab something small like this and bang it about and just enjoy flying FPV, because the thing that we all love is flying FPV. And the more packs you can get in, I think the better off everyone is. So, you know, that's the key message. Like, go out and fly and do what you can to spend more time in the air than you do at the desk, because it'd be more enjoyable. The world would be a better place. The more you fly, the better the world is. I should have put this. I should have. I'm trying to do this. Yeah, thanks, Mario. I'll show you in a minute when I get this battery pad in, because, you know, I didn't think ahead, did I? I didn't plan out, oh yeah, I need to do the battery pad. I need to do the battery strap when I'm... I didn't think about doing the battery strap when I should have thought about doing it, which was when you're doing, wait for it, the top plate. Oh, wow. Look at this. No, I'm gonna probably have to replace this battery strap anyway. Alrighty. That's the little build. Let me go get one of the batteries I intend on flying with. So a G&B 550. All right, hopefully the scales have enough battery in them. 150 grams. The numbers are around the wrong way. But... Yeah. 150. So I'm looking forward to ripping this 150 gram. Yeah, thanks for Mario. I'm super proud of this. This, if it wasn't midnight in Australia and cold and raining outside, even if it was midnight, I'd go and maiden it. Ooh. So yeah. The coaxial, yeah, could. That would be pretty sick. It is, like, I'm pretty impressed with just how small and sick that build is. Like, that is just wicked. Alrighty. $149. Well, yeah, you could definitely strap one underneath and it would well and truly be under sub 250. Well, I think that's it for me, everyone. It's now midnight. The build's done. The only thing I really need to do is actually focus the camera. That's not going to be a job for today. That's going to be a job for tomorrow. But I'm pretty stoked to have... I still need to pack for my trip, right? To have the 3.5 inch and the 2.5 inch. And when my Gep RC Smart 35 HD comes, then I'll sub this for the Gep and do other stuff with this. That Sharkbite VTX is going in the Gep RC. Yeah, Mario, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time. Not just you, Mario, but I appreciate everyone's time. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, subs if you liked it. No, thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it, as Dave 2D says. But yeah, I'm just pumped. I can't wait to go and send this little sucker. It's going to be an absolute ripper. Well, I'm Darren, and this is Everything Micro FPV. I've got some cleaning up to do. But thank you very much, and I'll try and get some better cameras for the next stream. Peace.